Yo. Yo. Kathleen Kennedy, legacy in flames. Burned down prophets just to chase them names. You took a gold mine, turned it into dust. Force-fed agendas, now you lost the trust. Leslye, Headland, thought you had the juice, but we saw through that. All smoke, no truth. Amandla, Stenberg, your acting's a joke. Tried to play a lead, but you barely even spoke. Bad actors cried, they were forced to see us as human beings. But the real fans knew we ain't believing things. Tried to change the script, but we flipped the page. Now acolytes cancel, welcome to the rage. Spoke truth to power, cut them down to size. No more fake heroes, we see through the lies. Spoke truth to power, hit them with the facts. Now the real ones rise, ain't no coming back.
And there ain't no coming back for the Acolyte. That's right, there's no season 2. I guess the Chuds won, right? Those review bombers, right? Those evil people like you and me that just didn't watch it also won, I guess. Twice. We didn't have to sit through it and it's canceled, right? I mean, there's a twofer, right? Probably the easiest victory ever. You didn't even know you won it. You didn't even know you were part of it either, right? I didn't know. Here we are, right? Congratulations, everybody! Victory Day! Woohoo! Grab a nurse and kiss her. I'm sure that'll go over well. So, no season 2 for the Acolyte as Disney reportedly cancels failed Star Wars series. Boo-hoo. Baha. Oh no. Why did this happen? Well, we all know why this happened. Because of racism, obviously. Right? That's what the internet will have you believe, right? You go swimming around X right now, you know, Twitter if you prefer. But you go swimming around X these days, you're going to find a lot of people that are like, oh, these horrible racists. These people who get sunburns, they hated the show. Well, if that was the case, then why didn't anybody else tune in? It's quite obvious that they didn't because the show's been canceled. It's not like Disney's like, darn, all this diversity is selling very well. Quick, cancel it. No, that's not how they work. It's quite the opposite, in fact. They keep forcing things that don't work. As you and I both know, take a look at this. So, you know, Leslye Headland, all the work up, you know, we're feeling very sad about this, blah, 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 it's over with, that sort of thing. Amandla Stenberg went out and blamed racism, obviously, and her fans, of course, are blaming racism. So, yes, that's great. But you might ask yourself, like, you know, yes, of course, it was, you know, not well received on the internet, and you know, we've seen some things, you know, like this.
Because this is, I would say, arguably the gayest Star Wars. I think.
Yeah, the gayest Star Wars ever. Remember the gayest Star Wars ever? Because that's a thing. That's what we got to do, right?
A considerable margin. And are you excited about that?
Are you excited about the gayest Star Wars ever? Well, no, nobody was, in fact. Not even lesbian R2-D2 was down for that. That's right. I can't quite figure out how that works, you know? I think it's funny to people who imagine, like, the vagina to be a center point to jokes, but, like, the rest of us don't, I guess. Maybe? I don't know. You know, the trash can's a lesbian, lol. You know, like, I guess, right? There's no refuting that. It's not like you can ask the trash can how it feels about that. It's a trash can. It doesn't have much to say. Much like R2-D2 was just a series of sassy beeps and boops, but apparently Leslye Headland wants to get busy with that, given that she's a lady lover, if you will, you know. A lady lover, you know. Say that 5 times fast in front of your parents, huh? Mm-hmm. But anyway, this happened, right? This is real. This isn't AI. This isn't fake. We have Amandla Stenberg here.
You're
Not the
bracing
gayest
yourself?
Star Wars.
And she's like doing some kung fu moves here. I'm not sure what this is. This is gay karate, right? This is gay karate, gay karate. I don't know, gay karate. I'm not sure what she's doing here. She's like pushing and pulling. Did she fart? She's trying to like push it away, but not look like she's like, oh God, why? You know, it's not. I don't know what's happening here. Maybe it's an out-of-body experience, and this is Ishtar trying to communicate with us. I'm not sure.
Not the
Even Leslye Headland's like, oh no, it's kicking in while we're on camera. Those edibles hit hard, hit fast, apparently.
It's pretty gay, let's be honest.
And there it is. That's all I wanted to get to was, it's pretty gay. Let's be honest. Yeah, let's be honest about it. It's pretty gay. Over here at Spicy Memes, this is Uncommon Spice, Spicy Memes with the blue check mark. Make sure you got the right account when you check this out because this is a pretty good takedown. Here's the meme. And it says, at the start of Disney Plus, they announced that The Acolyte was its most viewed series premiere of the year so far, based on first day viewership. It turns out that The Acolyte has the lowest rated season finale show of any Disney Plus show ever, okay? Fell right off the Nielsen's, just poof, right off, bang. And so, again, like, nobody wanted to see how this ended. They had enough, like, with the opening, and they were like, whoa, I'm not coming back for that. And if that wasn't enough, all the crazy stuff that happened during the show, like the ghost lady that went all, like, whoa, there, and it was like, why are you mad at me? That was how my people say hello, you know? I was just wishing you a happy day, you know? And nobody wanted to see how that all ended. Nobody wanted to see the backside of the head of a Yoda puppet sitting in a empty rentable office space. Remember that? What was that? Regis.com? Remember that? You remember the rentable office space? Regis.com? That's probably where they got that whole Jedi space to stuff Yoda into. Oh, and then there was the guy that died from white guilt. Yeah, that seemed to have really worked out for the ratings there. Yeah, he didn't even do anything. That guy, he just showed up. He was just like, I don't want to hang out here. There's no reason to hang out here. Everybody hates us, you know? And he's like, I just want to go back and be a cool Jedi and do cool Jedi stuff as opposed to babysit and get the side eye from clearly disinterested lady people. You know? Can you blame him? And then his face gets all screwed up. And then he just drinks some poison because some gal who presumably is a child he once knew, grown up into an adult now, said, drink this. And he's like, yeah, sure, bye. It makes perfect sense somewhere, just not here on Earth, okay? But far, far away, long, long ago, maybe it did make sense, but it doesn't here. And quite clearly, that's how the ratings did. And this is more of those how it started, how it's going memes. If you haven't figured that out yet, it's a how it's going, how it started, how it's going, and it's not going great considering it's been canceled. Now there is some reaction to this. There's some people that are broken up and super sad to see Amandla, Stenberg, and O.R.C.A. and yeah, other person, the other twin, the less interesting twin, the stabby one, the more stabby one. But yeah, so the best lightsaber fighting we've had in decades, and the old head community crying about the Night Sister Coven and non-canon legend inaccuracies really tanked the viewership that much? Well, no. I would say the first episode did, because if they're telling you that it's the highest rated one that they've ever had there, right? Like, that's bigger than Loki, okay? Even Loki season, screw you, you know? That didn't get as big of a first opening as The Acolyte did. But what happened is that as soon as they were like, how did that Jedi get stabbed in the chest with that steak knife? How did that happen? This isn't London. And so, you know, that's what tanked it, was just the right out of the gate, the pure disregard of everything we understood about the Jedi. And, like, there's no explanation. There's no, you know, in 100 years ago, the Jedi were not prepared for the threat that they were about to face. There was none of that. There was no, you know, long, long ago, the Jedi had forgotten the existence of the Sith and had grown quite comfortable in the peace times after the Great War. Some have forgotten the threat of the Sith. None of that. There was no setup that they were, like, completely untrained, just some jackasses wandering around the galaxy haranguing lesbian moms. That happened. Remember lesbian moms? That was great. That was top-notch cinema right there. The power of one, two, and many, as Chris Gore's joke was over there at Film Threat. The power of one, the power of two, the power of many. I'm not gonna do the gesture. Just the hand sign's enough to probably get us canceled. But hey, the whole situation is that this was what tanked it, was that people's expectations were pretty high. Let's not get it any mixed up. Leslye Headland went around saying that this was Knights of the Old Republic, that this was going to be a callback to a time long before any of the Skywalker stuff even got started. And lo and behold, we find out that Darth Sidious learned how to make babies from lesbian space witches singing Broadway tunes at the middle of the night under a red moon. That's all. Broadway tunes, who knew, right? You put a bunch of gays in a room together and you get a Broadway show, no matter where they are in the world, right? You know, you put a bunch of scientists in a room and they'll just naturally come up with something crazy. You put an engineer, a physicist, and yeah, about that. And no, I'm kidding. But the whole thing is that naturally they're attracted to theater and the expressive arts, right? I'm clearly joking. But this whole situation stems out of that stereotype. Consider for a minute that Leslye Headland herself is LGB, and then most of the people involved in the show have that leaning, you know? And I think Master Soul might be the only actor that doesn't, but he comes from Korea, so K-pop's a different world, you know? K-pop's a whole different world. I don't know, man. But so consider for a minute, you know, that it ended up being show tunes and more like a Broadway show where like everybody fell over dead. You remember that when they were just like, oh, they all fell over dead? That was fun. They were just like super tired and they like, I don't know, farted themselves to death or something. I don't know. It was quick and nobody really cared to explain it. They were just like, it's either really abrupt nap time or they're all dead. It's up for you to figure out because the show's over. I mean, really, what were they going to do with a season 2 anyway, right? I mean, all of it was pretty well wrapped up. For the mess that it was, they had contained it at the very least. That anybody who could have had any footprint in it was dead. So I don't really know, but then of course this person goes on. This ringtail goes on and says, "This is heartbreaking to hear. One of the best Star Wars shows that was actually made for hardcore fans of the universe." Think about that for a minute. All right, that was long enough. Instead of more mainstream casual audiences like Mando, and it gets hate bombed to oblivion. Is that like review bomb? It's like hate bombed. It's like this. There's an okay amount of hatred, and then there's like the little boy and fat man bombs of criticism. Is that what it is? I don't know. It's tough to say because these people are quite perturbed over the fact that the majority of people who watch this show didn't like it. And they didn't like it enough to tune out entirely. In fact, the only reason why it had any finale numbers was probably because of people who were either reviewing it or hate watching it, you know? If you wonder why Lucasfilm plays things too safe, this is why. How? Hold on. Oh, wait. Hardcore fans, there were droid seats. Is that what you're talking about? That there were literal bolted to the floor droid chairs? Like, you remember the droid chairs? Like, their literal purpose in life is to be farted on forever. Like, in Star Wars, ships go on for a long, long, long time. If they don't get blown up, they're around for a very, very long time. The Millennium Falcon pre-exists Han and Lando by quite a long time. All right? And then it comes into their ownership. Now, a lot of people have farted in those chairs. Consider that there's a semi-sentient being being farted on forever. Is that the kind of hardcore fans you're speaking of? The people that appreciate the subtle terror of Lovecraftian fart jokes? I mean, I can't think of like a worse fate, right? To just be a chair to be farted on forever and to be aware of it, you know? And it's just your job to do that. They can't get up. They're bolted to the floor. Maybe everybody missed that. I don't know. That's horrible to me. I think about that too often, that's just their fate. That's their purpose. They were built for that. You remember that butter robot? Your job is to get the butter, you know, with Rick and Morty. Your job is to get farted on. It's like, what? That's it. What? Why? Why would you consider that? Like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, this isn't a Star Wars show. This is someone's fan fiction in there trying to make it as like kooky Disney talk to the birds kind of stuff. You know, the mice wear little outfits and help with the chores, kind of magical, you know. The chairs have eyes. Oh, there we go, right? Now I want to make like one of those quick little parody mangas about a chair, one of those droid chairs. It's titled "The Chairs Have Eyes." I'm sorry, I got sidetracked because this just. What are you talking about? That alone just completely discredits the whole show. I'm sorry. There were people dedicated to that. That wasn't just an asset sitting around the Disney lot and they wheeled that in. That was a whole decision process that involved multiple people, okay? That alone should have showed you right then and there the show had no intention of sticking to anything interesting about the Star Wars universe and was going to be rooted in like whatever gets the Porg audience. Everything has eyes, guys. It's like a fucking Mario level. Anyway, maybe the reason Lucasfilm keeps making new Rebels versus Empire or Empire era stories is because every time they try something new, the prequels, sequels, Acolyte, High Republic, people hate bomb it because their favorite toxic content creators cough SW Star Wars theory. Oh yeah, now that guy. The Star Wars man, as he's known by Red Letter Media, just the worst man on the internet. A fella that gets so emotionally moved by Star Wars because he hates it so much, you see. And he creates original content about Star Wars and tries to hire people to create that content who worked on the original Lucasfilm products before Disney purchased them. Wow, what a hater. What an absolute monster, that guy. And he just tells people that. He's got his like hater ray, right? His hater ray, and it's like a gun. It's like a little ray gun, and he like sets it to like hate, super hate, really hate, super hate, Nazi, right? And he's cranked it all the way to Nazi and just ripped off the knob. And he's just, bam, you hate the Acolyte. Bam, you hate the Acolyte. Bam, you hate the Acolyte. And it was just like that through the computer screen, right? Just like laser tag commercials. Remember that? Remember when the laser tag commercials would shoot you through the screen and then you were a Nazi? Clearly, that's what happened here. But Noah caps it off here by, you know, Amandla Stenberg made her post and people started replying to her about it. And, you know, so Noah's out here and he's gone ahead and made sure that nobody but his friends can reply here. And it's important to note that this is the mark of bravery and stunning me. You know, it's very stunning and brave to lock your replies. Good job. Good job, buddy. So he says, these are just some of the comments under Amandla Stenberg's latest Instagram post. Yet another black Star Wars actor getting harassed. And not a single word from Lucasfilm to denounce it. Is this the audience you want to pander to? Well, yeah, they're kind of based. I mean, let's read these. Like, check it out. How does it feel to have your terrible show canceled, princess? You didn't even spell canceled right. That's a double troll, right? Like, you don't know what to reply to that. Do you correct his spelling? You just be like, you have to be like, canceled. Do you like your terrible show canceled or canceled? And then this next guy replies with, take the L, never do Star Wars again. Like, yes, the based. What did I tell you? If you see yourself here or feel yourself here, feel free to hit subscribe because you are the audience we want. Absolutely. Here we go. Let's read some more of this based stuff. So glad this dog dookie of a show full of woke agenda bull crap is over. Terrible effing actress, terrible director, and terrible effing show. Like Android Wolf 666 living up to it, man. Like coming out of there just like a bat out of hell with his opinions on it. I think his is the most extreme here so far anyway. I haven't read them all. But and they're getting deleted apparently. But Moses says here, the power of one, the power of two, the power of real fans got this show cancelled. Hope you saved that Disney check. Yeah, well, I mean, it's important to remember that Amandla Stenberg, whatever her name is out of Disney work now. Now, given that she's a pretty lady, it probably won't be too long before, you know, the inevitable happens. But, you know, the inevitable. And then it says, so call me Alex, says there's so many deleted comments. It's the power of many poops. Yep, the power of many poops. Dion NWA, Dion Wah. Anyway, I tried. My grandfather has been disabled for 29 years. I had him watch an episode and he walked over to the TV to turn it off. Thanks for the miracle. That's good. That's pretty good. And official Kashid says, thank God this show is canceled. One of the worst things to come out of Disney Star Wars. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Hey, 187 people seem to agree with that fella. Zach Valentino says, so was season 2 canceled because the show sucked or because everyone is racist? Who knows, right? It could be, surely the show sucked because Disney doesn't care about anything. As long as it's selling, it makes money, it keeps going. Look at the MCU. They brought back Robert Downey Jr. to play Doctor Doom. Come on. So we're moving on. Pikachu, lovable here, says, hope your ego took the hit it needed. Maybe learn to accept criticism next time before acting like a victim. The writing was bad. That's why it was bad. Well, again, it's absolutely correct. You know, the writing was terrible. And of course, we have nobody to blame but Leslye Headland, who had total control of the show. Writer, producer, director, creator, all of it. Kathleen Kennedy said, here's a blank check, go make a show. And that was it. I'll remind you, this is Harvey Weinstein's former secretary, personal planner sort of person that made sure he didn't get in trouble for a while. And she's not like new. She was singing his praises back in 2012, okay? So this person, Leslye Headland, been in the Hollywood machine for a while, and Kathleen Kennedy just says, here's a blank check, do with it whatever you want. I don't care if you stomp all over our property. Makes you wonder. It makes you wonder what they know that we don't know or may soon know. Who knows? Hmm? And then Zeke here, he says, ha 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 ha, cancelled. Yeah. No, the video didn't freeze. I just wanted you to take a minute and drink that in. That's what Noah considers to be harassment. Notice nobody here was saying anything about hard R's. There was because of your skin color, the show was awful. There is nothing here that says because you are of a certain demographic, you are thus incapable of being a Jedi. There is no, like, lesbians aren't allowed to make Star Wars. There's none of that. It's just, you guys suck because you really, really made this more painful than it needed to be. It's really an ego trip, front to back, the whole show. Just think about this, right? Leslye Headland had complete control of it. She puts her wife into the middle of it. She puts people she worked with Broadway into the middle of it. And then the whole thing ends up evolving into this weird story about how lesbians have a baby. So consider for a minute that this whole ego trip, right, had nothing to do with people outside of it. The only time that had anything to do with the audience was when they came into interaction with each other. And when that finally happened, kablooey. It was like that scene from Back to the Future, the last one, where the train went right off the tracks and blew the F up. Only this time they're not going to make a flying train out of it. They're just going to go, wow, that is still on fire 100 years later. You know? That's how bad this really is. When you really get down to like how bad the Acolyte harmed it, while not a lot of people saw it, a lot of people saw the reaction to it from people that they trust. Now, almost unanimously, the fans on this property did not approve of it. They were not interested in this rendition once it finally came out. A lot of people were excited for the first episode. Don't get me wrong, there were supporters up until that point. But by episode 3, most of them were like, wow, I really want to, but I can't. And that's what ended up happening to this show, is it ended up suffering from the ego of Leslye Headland and just about everybody involved. Master Soul may have been the only guy on set that wasn't full of himself. And I don't know for sure, but I'm only saying that because he comes from a different acting atmosphere. He comes from K-pop. He comes from over there in Korea. So it's a little different with how their acting works than it does here in the US. Not that different. They don't like perform on the ceiling or underwater or something like that. But it's a little different in their attitude on how they approach what it is to be a entertainer, right? And over here, we have this sort of deification of celebrity. And so they get kind of carried away with their role in society, as demonstrated with this show. So, I mean, once again, from the top, here we go. No season 2 for The Acolyte, as Disney reportedly cancels the failed Star Wars series. Ah, feels good. Feels good. Like I said, it's a victory you didn't even know you won. It was in a war you didn't even know you were fighting. But congratulations and thanks for your help. Until the next one, guys, good luck out there.